All right. Good evening, my dudes and dudettes, to another episode of Ben Helps Student Problems. Tonight, I really feel compelled to do this because, well, I think there's been some confusion in the class regarding the direction of the cohort this week. We've talked about RESTful APIs, we talked about like get and post, we talked about form submissions recently. And you guys may have been confused about, the assignments regarding like JSON submission versus form submission. So I thought I might, come up with some sort of project that could kind of bring all these things together and kind of talk about each individually to kind of clear the air because I feel like there's a decent sized amount of confusion. So I gotta think on the fly here. I probably should have done this before I began this stream. It was something that I want to keep track of. I already had cheeseburgers here, but gosh, that's so close to the homework that maybe not that exactly, but something very similar. Let's talk about maybe let's talk about like a contact book, like a that little black book type thing. So maybe a contact manager is something we can have, right? So let's create a new project inside IntelliJ. This is a Java FX, or not a Java FX, a Java command line app project. The name of it, let's call it Contact Manager, right? Okay, so for now, what we've been doing regarding dependencies is we've been adding libraries directly through IntelliJ. We're going to change this very soon. We're going to be using a system called Maven and another one called Gradle to do this. But for now, we're going to stick with just straight up IntelliJ. So I think, well, I want to include Spark. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see, com.sparkjava, Spark Core 2.8.5. I expect to get mad props if I get this right. Come on, spinny wheel. Come on. Come on. Okay, it's taken a while. It might not be working. Nope. It broke. Dang it, no mad props for me. Let me look it up on the Spark Java website. Let's see, 255. Gosh, freaking version number. So com.sparkjava, Spark Core 2.5.5. So kind of a cough. So if you're listening to this, I apologize. Let's see. All right. Okay. Download, add to module. See, the button's going to be about right there. Watch me be wrong again. Oh, it's down here. Okay. And then we're going to, let's just, for good measure, we're going to do, what's the, oh wait, does it come with mustache? I think I need to include that. So I do not see anything regarding mustache. So yeah. So com.sparkjava, Spark template must. Okay, I should look this up. Mustache. Spark template mustache. I totally would have gotten this one if I just trusted myself, but I was doubting myself because of the previous error that I had made. I will never make that same problem again. Believe in yourself. All right. Boom. Okay, so we've included Mustache and Spark Core. We also need to stick with what we've done in the cohort so far. Let's just stick with JOD, the JSON library. So I think this is 2.8.5. So org.jod : jod JSON : 285. So I'm going to search for that while I actually look up the appropriate version number. So jod JSON. You would think that after doing this a million times that I would just know, but these freaking version numbers keep changing. There we go. Yep, there's no 2.85 version. Nice try, Ben. Definitely is org.jod and then jod-json now. I know that much. Download. 385. God. Ugh. 3.8.5. Not 2.8.5. 3.8.5. So, fantastic. All right. Okay, so we have our Jod library. We have Spark Template Mustache and Spark Core. We're all set to go. We're going to make our web app. So the first thing I want to do is, well, this is a web page. I'll make it render a home page. So we need a home page. So how do we do that in Spark? Well, we have a spark.get, and I'll, ooh, what the, no thanks. IntelliJ 2017 for your helpful error message. Spark.get. Okay, so I'm going to get slash, and I'm going to do this thingy. God, I hate this guy. Nice. I wish that I had known it was that easy before. All right, so, oh yeah, I need to return new mustache television. Good. Okay. Here I need to return new. Is there just a view? I know there's model in view, but if I don't have a model, I'll just return a new hash map, and then I'll return a view of like index.html. All right, so what we're going to do here is just to get something up and running real quick, as fast as possible, ASAP as possible. I'm going to render a blank model with a view name of index.html at the home page. All right, so let's go here to our, well, we don't have a resources folder. We need to make one of those. So let's go ahead and add one of those real quick. So our resources folder is going to have all of our static files and our templates. So add a new folder called resources. Then we're going to mark it as a resource folder. We're going to add a folder inside that called templates. Okay, so we have templates here. This is the specific folder that Spark is going to look for when it tries to find index.html. Okay, so we have to make an index or an HTML file in there. I'm going to do HTML file and call it index. We'll say homepage. Welcome. Well, H1. Welcome to your contacts. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's run it. Run. So when you're live streaming and you have a MacBook Pro with, I think it's 8 megabytes or 8 gigabytes of RAM, IntelliJ takes some time to react, unfortunately. Let's look at my activity monitor. All right, well, we loaded, so that's good. All right. So localhost : 4567. Perfect. Looking really, really good so far. We have some words, and they're freaking huge. And we're on this domain name, localhost. Yeah. All right. So cool. So good so far. So what we want to do is list out our contacts. And now, what I want to try and do first is kind of like mock up what it would look like maybe in HTML. just real quick. So it's a list of stuff. So I know I need a UL at the very least. It's an unordered list. We don't want to order our people by the. Actually, do we? Do we want to order by last name? What is the appropriate markup for a potentially ordered list? That's a question I should have to ask Albert in the morning. Let's just stick with an OL for now, because I think that makes more sense for now. Okay, so LI. Actually, you know what? Would it even be that? Yes, inside this LI, actually what I want to have is a DL. Now, DL stands for a description list, and I hope that some of my front-end buddies are not yelling at me through the screen right now. So we have a DL, and that's a DT, and we'll say first name, and DD, we'll say Benjamin, and then DT last name, DD Starrett. That's my name, by the way. If any of you wanted to look me up. All right, so a DL is a description list. It's a list of kind of key value pairs, right? Like, this is my first name, it's Benjamin. This DT stands for, I believe, data term detail. Let's look it up. If there were only some kind of source of information that we could use that's infinite, right at our fingertips. What is a DT? Definition term. Does that mean DD? DD is definition? All right. Let's look that up. What is it? What is DD in HTML? Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure DD stands for definition, which is really like description definition, whatever. So the term is last name, the value, the DD is Starrett, right? So this is going to identify me. So let's do DT, which is like phone number, all right? This is a reasonable thing to store in a contact list. Let's say it's like 704 312 7469. That is not my number. Do not call that number. You can, I guess. It's not me, though. It's going to be some random old person who's wondering why you're calling, probably. All right, so let's see. Address. This will be the last field because I'm running out of enthusiasm for this description list. Is 123 Place Street. And that's just all we'll have there. Okay, so this is one person, one item in the list, right? And the description list is not the list of people, but it's a list of attributes that a person has. So to save some time, I'm going to just paste a person here like my wife, May. And then let's give her a different phone number. Let's give it just a very similar one. And then she's the same address. All right. So now we've done that. We should be able to just build. Let's see if this works. Or if caching is going to be the end of this. So it's still building and taking freaking forever because, again, streaming. This computer was not meant for that. All right, so I got to restart the web server. Thanks, Spark, for not being awesome as Spring. Soon, in a couple weeks, class, we're going to get into Spring. Spring is really great, and one of the things that makes it really great is the DevTools library, which when you compile, automatically copies things over to a place where they can be seen by the web server immediately. Oh, you know what? I thought that was kind of big. I was zoomed in. All right, so here's what it looks like. We have 1, that's me, and 2, it's my wife. So this is the HTML we want to generate. So this is our contact list book. And say we want to add a form where we can add another contact, right? And so let's add the form above here. So let's go ahead and just mock up what that form might look like, right? So we have a form element. And the method, well, let's do action first. The action is, let's say that we want to add a person. So let's say add contact is where we'd post to. Actually, you know what? Maybe slash contacts. That would be a good thing to post to. So method equals post. Our options again are get and post. We're adding information to the server, so we need to specify post to accurately, semantically have a good form. Yeah? All right, so what are the fields we need in this form? Well, we need first name, last name, phone number, and address, right? So let's add some text fields. So input type equals text, name equals first name, and then input type equals text, name equals last name. We need to make these self-closing. All right, and then input type equals text. Actually, I think there is a phone number type, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. Phone number. That's not going to work. I was thinking of the placeholder while I typed that. So phone number, lower camel case. All right, and then address. So input type equals text, name equals address. Okay. And then input type equals submit, which is the button that you'll see at the bottom of the form. So let's actually, while we're here, let's just add placeholder text like first name. So this is what you'll see before you type anything into the form. It kind of gives people a hint as to what should go there. I mean, it's kind of more than a hint. It's kind of just telling them, it's like, hey, you should put this thing here, right? All right, so this is phone number. And this is address, okay? Good, so that's our form. It doesn't work yet. If we try to do that post, it's going to throw a 404, but that's okay. Let's just see it look good for now. Dude, I totally had 2 people watching simultaneously a second ago, this live stream, so pretty much like a famous streamer now, apparently. All right, so check it out. We got the form here, pretty legit. If I try to put my other stuff in here, like Pants, McGee, 803, that's my actual number. Thanks, autofill. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Address is 1, 2, 3. Place, street. I hit submit. Ruh-roh. We get this guy. Well, that would be a problem. That's exactly what we expected. So what we need is a route on our web server that can handle post requests to /contacts. So let's do that. So we have a spark.get here, which renders the home page. Let's do a spark.post to /contacts, and then we'll have request response lambda. And then notice that we could render a template here, but what I'm going to prefer to do is just redirect back to the home page. So I'm going to do request.redirect. That's not what I wanted to do. Redirect to /. Okay. Return that. Okay. Come on, you have the redirect method. I know you do. Please don't play with me, Spark. Okay, no, we got time for that. Did they remove redirect? No. Response.redirect. And it's res then, not a response. There it is. Whew. That makes more sense. So you redirect the response, not the request. Okay, so that makes more sense. All right, so we'll put that down there. That's what we'll do at the end, is we'll redirect back to the home page. So what we need to do with /contacts is basically take every field in the form and check it out. You can do this, split vertically. Love doing this, blows people's freaking minds. All right, so the form has this name, this name, this name, and this name. And that's how your data is going to come in. So if I want to get the first name from the form submission, I do string f name, and I'm just making this different to show you that that doesn't have to be the same name as the form, equals request.query params first name. That gets you the name that they posted, and the first name. So we'll do L name equals request.query params last name, and then string phone num equals request.queryparams phone number, and then string address. Well, this one's can't really make that any different. So request queryparams address. Okay, so we have these 4 things here. What we need to do is make a new contact, and then realize that you have yet to make a contact class yet that holds all these values. So let's do that. All right, so we're here in our main package here. Let's do new Java class. We'll do contact. So a contact has a string first name, private string last name, private string phone number, private string address, and then we'll add a constructor with the nifty tools that IntelliJ gives us to make these really quickly, so you don't want to have to type those 3 billion times throughout the course of your development career. All right, so we've done that. That's good. So let's talk about this guy. So let's make a new contact. A new contact. It's a great movie, by the way. So with first name, F name, string last name, L name, phone number is phone num, and address is address. All right, so we made a new object, but we're not putting it anywhere. So after this post request, that object is going to get created and then just discarded, right? So we need to save it somewhere. Let's just have a private static array list of contacts field. And just set it to a new array list by default. Come on, IntelliJ. Thank you. So let's just say we're going to contacts.add that new contact. Yeah. So now, when we submit our form, we're going to read in the data. Read in that old data. We're going to craft us a contact, and then we're going to add that contact to our contacts list. Okay, good. And then we're going to have ye old redirect here. Okay, so that'll take us back to the home page, which we will then immediately see the results of, well, this. Well, as soon as we update the mustache, but we'll get to that in a second. We're going to refresh the server. In the meantime, I'm going to get my child out of this room because she is noisy. Be right back. Nope. Wrong. You should be in bed. Okie doke. I'm back. All right, so we will go back to the home page. And here we go. So let's do the same thing again. Pants, McGee, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Address is 1, 2, 3, place street, submit. Okay, so it redirected, it posted to that form, and then it came back to the home page, which is exactly what we said to do, right? So that's good, but we need to make sure that we can see the people that are listed here and not just have a static set of people here like we have right now in the template. So what we're going to do, and you can pretend like this HTML came to us from a front-end developer, because what we're going to do is pass in some data to our template here. And remember, we did that with our model, which was a hash map. So right now it's an empty hash map. Let's start with giving that hash map some data, right? So let's do a map, hash map, where we have, actually, is it going to be a hash map? Yes, it's going to be a hash map where we have string and then an array list that can store contacts. That's pretty hefty. You know what? Let's just make this object, okay? So this hash map is a model that can store anything as a value, right? Okay, so what I want to say is model.put contacts and then my contacts array list. I don't want to name this the same thing because it could cause some confusion. So I'm going to say people, right? I'm going to pass in my model to the front end. So we have data here. This is this field is a variable that is going to just stick around for the lifetime of the application. So the application is going to boot up, and it's not going to go anywhere. The application is still running even when the server is not handling a request. So it'll just stick around, and when we want to use it, it'll be there, stuff like that. So we're going to build a hash map, which is our model. We're going to fill the hash map with people, and we're just going to take all the contacts from our contact list. Then we're going to return this model and view object, which essentially combines the model with the view object. And then over here, what we have to do is rip out a lot of the markup that is kind of repetitive, right? You can see a pattern here. Every LI is going to be identical, yeah? Like this LI is going to be the same as this LI, and if there were a third one, it would be the same. The only thing it would change would be the contents inside this DD element. So let's change this to some mustache. Okay, so let's have this render our people. So now what we're going to do is have this LI repeat itself for every person in people. And remember, people we got from our model that we combined with our template. Yeah. So not only do we have to do that, let's use mustache to replace this bit here, which is static, which never changes, with the data from our array list. Now, well, how does it do that? Well, let's take a look at this guy. So these are objects that are passed into the view, and we can reference these fields accordingly. So we can say first name, and we can say last name, and so on and so forth. Phone number, and then address. Yeah? So for every person in people, which is an array list that can hold people, right? Array list, yeah. Oh, sorry, or we can hold contacts, right? We're calling them people in the template because I decided to rename that to make sure you knew that it doesn't have to be the same name as this local variable. So we should have all the moving pieces to see our contact list. So let's do that. We'll wait for IntelliJ to restart because it again is incredibly slow right now. And good, this is a good start. We restarted our server, so we have no data right now. So we have to see if we can post data. Pants, McGee, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, 3, Place Street. Boom. And check it out. We indeed, I spelled street wrong. I spelled it stret. Let's do Pants' son, McGee. Phone number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 0. There's one more than 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, 3 Place Street. They live in the same house. Ooh, except it's no typo this time. Submit. Perfect. So now we have 1, which is Pants, and 2, which is Pants' son. So that's great. Okay, so here's the confusion, and here's the reason why I wanted to make this video. It's because we're talking about two different things simultaneously in our class this week. We have classic form submission, which I added here, and we also have JSON and Ajax and stuff like that, which it's a huge part of web development nowadays. So when I say with the classical way of websites and how form submissions work is through this, like where you have a page that you navigate to and you have a form that you post data to, and this has driven the web for like the past existence of the web. It's been around for forever. But the problem is that imagine this were like a contacts list. Imagine this were like an important news site or something like that. And some breaking news happened, you know, like someone discovered cold fusion, right? Remember The Saint, that movie? It's really good. It's in the 90s. Val Kilmer. Really, really awesome. I like to watch that. I watch lots of 90s movies, apparently. Anyways, so you have the need to have some level of interactivity, because if someone discovers cold fusion and I'm on a news page, I'm not going to find out that someone discovered cold fusion until I get a phone call from one of my friends or I refresh the page. Because when was the last time you ever just arbitrarily received data on a website? I mean, it doesn't happen. It's not how the internet works. You request a page with your browser, you get the page back, and that's it. Doesn't do anything. There's no communication between the server and the client after that finishes. Well, people got pretty tired of that. They wanted that level of interactivity. They wanted to be able to ask for new data when they were on a page. Like if Pants McGee's name suddenly changed or he moved somewhere else, they wanted people to have this little piece of information update and then nothing else, right? So that you don't have to refresh the page when something crazy cool happens. You just make a request for the data, and then it just replaces the data on this page with the new values. So enter Ajax. Pew, 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 pew. Ajax is asynchronous JavaScript and XML. We talked about it a few times, but really, our discussion of REST and our discussion of APIs and our discussion of Ajax all really come hand in hand. They all are really working together to build a cohesive experience. So imagine this. Imagine I want, excuse me, I don't just want to build a website where someone can add their contacts. What I want to also build is an API so that anyone can build an application for themselves they can add to my contact list. Okay, it's kind of a contrived example in this case, but we're not going to get too crazy with this example. Essentially, we want a JSON API to interact with these contacts as well as the website itself. Right? So what's that look like? Well, let's just agree that through JSON, we can do the same things that we can do on the web page. That is, list our contacts and add a contact. And that's it. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're not going to do editing. We're not going to do deletion right now. It's just adding contacts and listing them out. But with JSON, keep in mind that you're just interested in the data itself. It's this bit you're interested in. Because if this is in a structured format like JSON, you can use it in your application and do whatever you want with it. So let's work on that. We're going to have two routes, just like we had before, but I want them to be not on the home page and in /contacts. Maybe I want them all to start with /API. So let's do spark.get /API/contacts. Okay. Sorry, guys. Feeling kind of sick today. So we have request response here, guys. And then we're not going to have a third parameter because there's no template. We're going to just return a string. Okay. And we'll replace this in a sec with other stuff. So if we think about it, what do we want to do when someone goes to API contacts? And keep in mind what we're talking about is going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6, 7 /API/contacts, right? What do we want to have happen there? Well, we want to see the JSON representation of every contact that currently exists in the contact list, which should be like an array. All right. If I go there now, I get a 404. So what I'm going to do is use the job library and make a new JSON serializer. And I'm going to serialize my contacts array list. Right? So this is going to serialize, keep in mind, turns an object, in this case contacts, into a string. We're just going to return that string. That's all we got to do at this endpoint. So I guess we'll just go ahead and test it real quick so we can kind of see it in action. Oy vey. All right, compile successfully. First here we have, there we go, it's up and running now. We have no contacts at first, that's a good sign. Let's refresh this page, say we do pants, McGee, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, Place Street, Stret. We'll refresh this, and nice. On our API, we have our contacts, which reflects what we have on our page. Okay. So now let's test adding something to the API. So we want our application that's consuming this API to be able to add to that list. So when we refresh the page, we see my contacts, and if I have like a mobile app where I want to use to like update contacts, it's going to be able to update my contacts also, right? It's not just through the web page itself where you'll be able to perform this operation. And then realistically, we would split these methods out at different places, but that's neither here nor there for now. So I want to put this post route in contacts as well. So I'm posting a new contact. Okay. So I want to just return an empty string again, like we did before. Okay. This time in English, what I want to do is get the JSON string posted in the request. And then turn that JSON into an object, a contact object. Add that object to my contacts list, and then celebrate. Yay. All right. Cool. So how do I get the JSON string posted in the request? Well, when you post something, you post data with the request, it's going to be in the request body. So we can access the body of the request by saying, we'll call it JSON string equals request.body. That's how we're going to do that in Spark. That's not always the same. We'll see that it's done differently in Spring. But for now, you can use this body method to return the body of the request. So we're going to take that JSON and we're going to turn it into an object. Well, we know we're going to receive a contact object, so I'll call it contact C. And then we're going to use our job library to build a new JSON parser object. We're going to use that parser to parse the JSON into a contact. Okay? So that's how we did that. So we have a JSON parser object. We're going to use that object to parse this JSON into this class. Yeah? So once we have C, what we can do is go to contacts.add C. Yep. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. We have accomplished all the things that we wanted to accomplish for this application. So let's recompile it. Actually, that was fruitless because Spark doesn't have DevTools. Freaking muscle memory. That's okay. Okay, so we gotta rerun it still. Now you might be asking yourself, well, Ben, that's all well and good with the Spark thing and the REST API endpoints thing, but how do you submit a post request? Well, Normally, we're not going to have to worry about that. Normally, the front-end team is going to be doing the part that makes these requests. They're going to be writing JavaScript, which will interact with your backend service. And as we go along this week, we're going to be building more services that behave in this exact same manner. Okay? But one of the best tools to test your services, and this is used by everybody, is a tool called Postman. Okay? So I'm going to crack open Postman right now. And then wait for it to load because, again, streaming kills my computer's will to live, apparently. Come on, man. All right. Apparently you just have to yell at it. Okay. So, well, I was obviously testing my cheeseburgers project earlier, but we don't have to test that anymore. So I'll test API/contacts. Right? So we're going to post. In Postman, you can pick any one of these verbs. There's a ton of verbs. So you get in post near the top because they're the most relevant. So we'll click here on the body. And you guys may have noticed earlier, I actually copied the JSON output from before. So I'm a pretty lazy dude. I didn't want to type out that JSON by hand. So I just kind of like yanked it from the output of before. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I yanked it from here. Right. So this is the list from before I started my web server. There are no anymore, but I already saved it. So I'm going to post to this API contacts endpoint with this send button here. And there's an internal server error, so that's great. Let's figure out what's going on there. You know what I bet it is? Yeah. Well, I'm glad I did this because you guys are probably going to come up with the same exact thing. So what just happened is the Jod library tries to build a contact object, but it can't do it without a parameterless constructor. So you always have to include one. So I included a constructor that has these fields in it, but there's no way for the Jod library to know how in particular it should call this constructor. So long story short, it needs one with no parameters in order to make an object. So I included that. It was somewhat anticlimactic, but I guess that's okay. Chug. Rerun. So we'll refresh this page and this page. All right. So we still have no contacts, and we have none here. So I'm going to click send again. Good. 200 okay. So I should see, yep, there's me there, and I'll take this, and there's me there. Excellent. So let's change this here to be like 234 or something like that. 234 Place Street, and then Ben Starrett, and then yeah, that's it. So you can think of Postman as really any application that you'd ever want to write. You know, it can communicate with my web server now because it sent the appropriate message to the appropriate location. It sent this message to this URL. And because this URL was expecting that data in this exact format, it succeeded, right? So refresh, I see you got 123 Place Stret and 234 Place Stret, except for Ben Starrett also lives at on Place Stret, but 234 instead of 123. So refresh, you'll see me right there. Okay. Well, that is the long and short of it, y'all. I mean, we got JSON being sent back and forth to the server. We have a form submission being sent back and forth. Just like there was one more thing I wanted to accomplish in this lesson, but I cannot remember what it is. Let me think about that for a sec. Huh. I think that's pretty much it, right? I mean, We wanted to be able to update the context, and we wanted to be able to do it through an API and also through just regular form submissions. So yeah, that's all she wrote, folks. That's all complete. Let's go over this real quick. Yeah, we already did that. Okay, well, that's all I got for you today on this episode of Ben Helps Student Problems. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully Ben helped a student problem as advertised. Tomorrow we have lecture with Avery Rath, a developer from Publicis Hawkeye and former student of mine. And you guys are probably watching this in lecture right now, so hello. He's going to talk to you about route parameters and query string parameters. And it's going to be a really interesting lecture. So let's talk again tomorrow night, and we can kind of regroup then. Well, I want to thank you all for having the diligence and the go get your attitude to attend today's Ben Helps Student Problems lecture. I hope you all have a good one, and I will see you as soon as I can. Thanks so much, guys.